Welcome to today's hot topic, and today we're going to talk about why you went into business in the first place. And that's at the core of basically what we do at Direction, and that's helping small business owners achieve those things that they went into business for originally. And quite often a business owner will get caught up in the noise and the chaos that is small business as they go along. So it's very important to keep an eye on what you originally set out to do. Now, I typically use in our workshops a few stereotypes when I start talking about why did you go into business. So some people go into business to get away from a boss. Some people go into business to get away from a spouse. Some people go into business because they think that they can do the job better than where they're working. Or they maybe have what Michael Gerber called the entrepreneurial seizure, and they simply say, hey, I've got a great idea, I'm going to go and do that. And there's been some great businesses formed from all of those reasons to go into business. And of recent years, we've had the influence of Simon Sinek and his why philosophy, talking about understanding why you do what you do, not the thing that you offer. And a lot of people have got caught up in the why craze and centered everything that they do around this why. But I think they go a little bit too philosophical sometimes, as opposed to what's the reason that they actually went into business for themselves. Not looking at the customer aspect of the why, I get that whole part, but what is it that you went into business for originally? So as I said, there's a number of stereotypical ways, and I look at three sort of archetype people that go into business and maybe get it wrong. The first of those is Frank Kranke. We use him as an example, and Frank Kranke is the kind of guy that really couldn't work for anybody else. He used to get frustrated to the hilt. He'd get in slanging matches with the boss. His attitude stunk as far as an employee was concerned, and he believed that he could do everything better himself. He took a redundancy and then decided that he was going to go off with some harebrained idea and put it into place and do it. A number of years on, he's typically maxed out all his credit cards. He went into it totally undercapitalized. He's lost his redundancy. And his business is really sort of suffering and really not doing well at all because he didn't go into any planning at the start of it. But Frank's always right. Frank's cranky. That's his attitude. The second one that we often talk about is Bob the Builder. Can he fix it? Yes, he can. Well, sometimes. So Bob the Builder is typically the type of tradesman that is very good at building or doing whatever their trade is, and they're able to do their trade to help out their personal life, whether that be building a house or tiling their own house or doing all the electrical work in their own house. But the thing that's missing is that they're not really building a business. They're simply just working their trade. It's akin to having a job, but they're the boss. It's not a business, it's them. They're the solopreneur, if you want to use those terms. So they don't put on an apprentice, or if they do, they get rid of the apprentice because it's too much hassle. And they really don't build a team around them. They don't build a business for ultimate sale. They just build a trade around themselves until such time as their back gives in or they suffer ill health, and then there's really nothing to hand down, there's nothing to sell, there's nothing to leave behind as a legacy. It disappears with them. It's a very unfortunate circumstance, but we see it happen a lot. So that's Bob the Builder. The third that we see as a real archetype of business owner is Sam and Pam Seachange. These are the guys that have lived in the city. They've quit their corporate jobs. They've got a chunk of money where they've sold their house. They've bought in a region for a little bit cheaper. So they've got a pool of money. They've gone down the car dealer and bought themselves a nice luxury car. And with the money left over, they decide to start a lifestyle business. So they come to a regional area, they start a coffee shop or something similar. And they learn how to make really, really good coffee. In fact, it's some of the best coffee in town. And these little muffins, fantastic little, things that you can just, very Moorish, and, everybody starts to frequent there for 6 months. And then the novelty wears off and they move on to the next new cafe that's there. Sam and Pam are left sitting there. They've got all of their savings put into this business. They did this beautiful fit out of the cafe. Problem is that all of a sudden the territorial people have moved on. The novelty's no longer there. And what they find is that there's not enough custom to keep them going, particularly through the winter months. The business starts to suffer, things get a bit stressful, things get stressful at home because the business is impacting the personal life. And Sam and Pam end up going broke. They try to sell the business, nobody wants to buy it. The bank starts knocking on the door for the loan that they took out to do the fit out, and they really just need to get out and cut their losses. Lost their savings, out of business. When they went into that business, they had big plans. Not written down, but they had big plans in their head. There were things that they wanted to achieve when they went into business, and they didn't achieve them. When Bob the Builder went into business, there were things that he wanted to do and he wanted to achieve. They were his things. They might not have been the things that I thought were right in terms of building a business for sale, but he had the things that he wanted to achieve. And Frank Cranky, even though he's got a really crappy attitude, there are things that Frank Cranky wanted to achieve as well. And Frank Cranky, simply just in spite of himself, just couldn't get there. So all of these people are examples of people who really don't plan well and achieve the things that they can. And then you've got successful people who go into business and they'll achieve a heap, but they'll get to a point where they just don't know where to go to next. And then they've got to go back and they've got to look inside themselves and say, okay, what is it that I'm trying to achieve here? Have I achieved the things that I originally set out to do? And if I have, then what's my next mountain? What do I want to do next, and what do I want to achieve? So that's pretty much it in terms of looking at what you originally went into business for. You need to continually be looking back and reassessing and finding out whether what it is that you aligned yourself to at the start is what you're aligned to now, and whether you've achieved it, and whether you're looking for another mountain to climb, or whether you're still on the road to achieving it. You need to look back at that, and you need to get aligned like a compass and start heading in the right direction.